In this video, I'm going to explain how to use the long multiplication method. So this written method is used when we want to multiply a number by a two-digit number. It's really important before we try to use this method that we understand how to multiply a number by a single digit using the short multiplication written method. Once we're happy with that, we can move on to using Cuisenaire odds to explain how and why this long multiplication method works. And if you don't have Cuisenaire odds, you could use place value equipment, the tens and ones pieces. And one other really important piece of equipment that we're going to need is a blob of blue tack, and we'll see why that is important soon. So we're going to start off by looking at a calculation, 12 multiplied by 14, using Cuisenaire odds, or you could use place value equipment. But we can see it takes a lot of manipulatives. So we're just going to use this to see how the method works first of all. So I've made 14 12 times. So I'm going to record here that I've got 14, there's my 10 and my 4 ones, and I'm going to do that 12 times. So I've got 10 times and then 2 more times. So that separation makes it easier for us to calculate, because now we can see how I can use those individual calculations to create the whole product for 12 multiplied by 14. So I'm going to start with looking at 10 lots of 10. 10 times 10 would be 100. So that's this chunk. And then I can do 2 lots of 10. So 2 lots of 10 is 20. So I can easily see that looking at my 10s all together, I've done 12 lots of 10, which is 120. And then I'm going to go on to my ones. So I have got 10 lots of 4. 10 multiplied by 4 would be 40. And now I need to do 2 lots of, so I've got 2 4s are 8. So when I look at my ones, I can see that I have got 48 altogether. So altogether, I have got 120 plus 48, which equals 168. So obviously we don't want to have to get manipulatives out every time we do a long multiplication, and to be quite honest, we probably don't have enough of the pieces. So let's first of all look at our grid method. So our grid method allows us to partition our number. So let's partition the 14, just as we did with our manipulatives, into 10 and 4. But we also need to partition the 12. We've got 12 lots of 14, and we can partition that into our 10 lots like we did here, and then 2. So now we can see the 4 separate calculations we need to do. 10 multiplied by 10 is 100. 10 multiplied by 4 is 40. 2 multiplied by 10 is 20. And 2 multiplied by 4 is 8. And then we need to add them all together. So you can do that in whichever order you like. I'm going to add these columns just like I did here. So 100 plus 20 is 120. 40 plus 8 is 48. And then it's not too tricky to add, so I can just see that that would equal 168. So that's what's happening when we multiply a two-digit number by another two-digit number. Each digit has to multiply each other digit. So the tens digit in 12 has to multiply the tens digit in the 14 and the ones digit in the 14. And then the ones digit in the 12 has to again multiply the tens digit in the 14 and the ones digit in the 14. So there are 4 separate calculations there. But we don't want to have to use our manipulatives. And as we get larger numbers, this can become more tricky when we're needing to add all those separate answers together. So let's look at another example, but this time using the long multiplication method. And thinking about what we just learned using the manipulatives and the grid method. I've got 38 multiplied by 14, and we know that each of these two digits has to multiply every other digit in 38. So we know we're going to have a couple of calculations. So to make this easier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by multiplying 38 by 4. And I'm just going to cover up that 10. So I can see I'm just going to do 38 times 4. So 8 multiplied by 4 would be 32. And I'm going to swap pen colour because I can't write a line in yet. I need to put my carried digit ready in this column. I'm making it quite small and I'm doing it in a different colour so I don't get confused. So using a different colour pen or colour pencil can be really useful for just making sure digits don't get confused in this calculation. So 8 times 4 is 32. And now I need to do 3 times 4. It's in my tens place. I know it's in my tens place. So I can just think about 3 tens. 3 times 4 would be 12. And I've got 3 more to add on to that. So that would be 15. So 38 multiplied by 4 would be 152. So this has included 2 calculations that we needed to do. I needed to do 4 times 8 and I needed to do 4 times 30. I've done both of those. So now I'm going to use my blue tack to cover up the ones digit. And when I do that, as well as making it easier to focus on which digit I'm multiplying by, this is a reminder that nothing is going to be written in my ones column because I'm starting with my tens here. I'm doing 10 lots of 8 first of all. So really, when I write my answer 1 times 8, it cannot go in this column. So this is reminding me that now I'm working with my tens and I need to use a placeholder before I do anything else. And then I can multiply as normal. I'm multiplying by 110, so multiplying by 1 is quite straightforward. 1 multiplied by 8 is 8, and 1 multiplied by 3 is 3. And obviously we know that 8 was in our tens and we know the 3 was in our hundreds. So all I have to do now, I've got my 2 separate answers, and we know that was 4 calculations altogether, is I need to add them together. So 2 plus 0 is 2, 5 plus 8 is 13, and this is why it's important to keep our carried digits small and cross it out so we don't accidentally add it on. So 5 plus 8 is 13, and then 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. So there's our answer, 532. So another step you can do when you work this out is to record what you're doing. So here initially, when I'm working out 4 times 8 and 4 times 38, I could record, if I wanted to, 38 multiplied by 4. And when I move this, I can record 38 multiplied by 10. That's my second calculation there. So we can use our long multiplication method to multiply numbers with any number of digits. So I'm going to, first of all, here, I've got 235 multiplied by 144. So I'm going to cover up my tens and my hundreds digits, and I'm just going to focus on multiplying by the ones digit. I'm going to do 4 lots of 235. So 4 multiplied by 5 is 20. 3 multiplied by 4 is 12, plus 2 more is 14. And then 2 multiplied by 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Now I've multiplied everything by my ones digit, so I can cover that up. And that reminds me, I'm working with my tens digit, so I need to use a placeholder in my ones column. And I can look at 4. 4 multiplied by 5 is 20. So there's my 0. 2. 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. Plus 2 more is 14. And then 2 multiplied by 4 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. So I've got the same answer, but it's just shifted along. And that's because I multiplied by 4 in my ones column, and then I multiplied by 4 in my tens column. So my answers are identical, apart from the fact that my second answer is 10 times larger. It's shifted along one place value place. Now, the last step is I'm working in my hundreds column, and I can see now this is a reminder that now I can't write anything in my ones or my tens. So I'm going to start off in my hundreds column. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. And 1 times 2 is 2. So I've got some big numbers now, but quite easy to add up. 0 in my ones. I've got 4 tens. I've got 9. Well, 5 plus 4 is 9. So 9 plus 9 is 18. 9 plus 1 more would be 10. Plus 3 is 13. And then 2 plus 1 is 3. So if I put the comma in my number, I can see my answer is 33,840. But actually, using my blobs of blue tack, it was quite easy to keep track of what I was doing in that calculation. So I fully encourage using something like blue tack or small counters, or even just a finger, the end of a finger or the end of a pen, if a child's not got anything else, to cover up the digit that they're not working with at that point in time. Once they finish working with the digit, they could also cross off digits so they know they can ignore that one. But I think blue tack is quite easy to just move around. I hope I've helped you to understand how and why the long multiplication method works, so that it's easier to carry out accurately. You can then use this long multiplication method to multiply even larger numbers and also to multiply decimals.